Hi guys, welcome to dinner party tonight. Let's talk about kitchen equipment, okay? We've had a few of you guys ask about what things I think are great, and of course this is a total matter of opinion. I'll show you some things that I think are kind of great and some kitchen gadgets and that are fun. All right, so let's talk about kitchen stuff. Will it be enough? Will you leave in a huff? Let's talk about knives. Now, if you're a nerd like me, you will pause cooking shows to see what knife the chef is using. Expensive knives are fun, beautiful things, but you don't need them. So you really need a chef's knife, a paring knife, and an all-round chopping knife. This is the bare minimum. I'm short, I'm 5'4", I'm the average height and a little bit shorter. A huge, big, 800-foot knife doesn't work for me. It's like very difficult to control that. So I like a 6 or 7 inch chef's knife. This is a 6-inch chef's knife. You want it to have a holster so you can get your finger on the holster. So you can hunker down on it. Because you're not chopping like this, right? You want to manhandle this thing. If it's a huge knife like this, it's really hard for a small person to manhandle it. This happens to be a Wusthof. It's their starting line. It's about $45. Maybe a little more. And Wusthof is excellent, but they do dull, okay? They do dull, so you have to keep it sharp. This is wicked sharp right now. If you don't want to spend any money on knives, buy Victorinox, which is the same company that makes Swiss Army knives. Very, very affordable knives. This is their paring knife. It has a nice flex to it, probably $4.95. These are Mercers. This is a big chef's knife, but I'm showing it to you for the brand. These are, if you take a cooking class, right, Reggie? Yeah. This is what comes in the bag. And they're excellent. And they're affordable knives. $35, $40, maybe $50. But I'm telling you to buy 3. You want a chef's knife that you can manhandle, a paring knife for small jobs, and then a chopping knife. So really a chopping knife is kind of like this shape. Something that has a wider blade so you don't run out of blade before you cut through the thing. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. You really just need a chef's knife and a paring knife if you want to get down to basics, okay? If you give somebody a knife as a gift, you must include in the box a penny or you'll sever the relationship. And the other thing is sharpening your knives. If you don't know how to do it, ask somebody because you can actually destroy a knife trying to do it on a whetstone. It's really hard. And those pull-through things grind too much of your knife down. When I was a kid, all over New York City, and we lived in an apartment house, but you could still hear every month or so, the guy would drive around in his truck ringing a bell, ding, 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 and he would park in a central area, and all the housewives would come down with their knives, and he had a knife sharpener in the back of the truck. It was amazing. And he was in this neighborhood, which is the West Village in New York. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I heard the bell ringing and I was like running down the street with my knives to try and catch this guy because it killed me that he was even there. Be careful sharpening your knives. It's not that easy. If you have to, get the pull through because the whetstone takes skill. Or you can take them into certain shops and they'll sharpen them for you for a price. Okay, so that's knives. Boop, boop, boop. Or a chopping knife. Let's talk about peelers quickly. There is nothing worse than a peeler that doesn't work. I found cheap ones work better than expensive ones. Kuhn Recon, which is this brand you can get anywhere, they are the best. If you can't get that, use OXO. Hideous handle, but they work pretty good. So if you start making a big meal and your freaking peeler doesn't work, you will regret not buying a Kuhn Recon. So I'm going to be honest with you. There's certain things that you should invest in, okay? You can also get them from people who have too much stuff in their kitchen. Just say, can I have that? Because people give away a lot of stuff. Pots are kind of that thing, especially your larger pots or your searing pots, but let's talk about it. If you're a household of 2 or if you are only having 4 people for dinner, you probably need basically 4 pans, okay? The first one is a casserole like this, which you would use for small coq au vin or anything that braises or has to, or like a bolognese sauce or anything like that. boiling water for potatoes or eggs would go in here. I'm not going to lie to you, this is all clad. And not only that, but this is copper core, which is excellent. But you can get regular all clad, and you can also get Cuisinart, which is a copy. I hate to say that, but it's a copy of all clad. And they're pretty good. If you go to a big homeware store, you can usually find a secondary brand that's really as sturdy as this. You just want thickness. If it's too thin, it's going to scorch anything in here. Very significant. Has to have a heavy bottom. Okay. Then you need a regular old saucepan like this. This would be for heating gravy, keeping, anything you'd use a pot this big for. So these don't have to be pricey. These can be thin bottomed. It's not really pricey, not pricey. It's the bottom, okay? Then you need one good nonstick pan. I think we've recommended before green pan. So these are green pans. You can get them on Amazon. I have not had one thing stick on these yet. They're non-toxic. In other words, this is ceramic, not that stuff that gives you cancer. And the handle stays cool. This is an excellent pan. Comes in many different sizes. I happen to pull out my biggest one, said the actress to the bishop. Then I would recommend investing in a cast iron pan. These are very inexpensive. The most famous brand being Lodge. Everybody knows Lodge. Just go out and buy one cast iron pan, and essentially with good pans, your children's children will be using them, and especially with Lodge. You need one cast iron pan. You're going to learn all about seasoning it. This you use for searing to the oven, or in this case, because it's so pretty, oven to the table, potatoes, vegetables, chicken dinner. This is for searing, ripping hot, sturdy, goes through hell with you and back. Lodge makes also a carbon steel, which is a totally different thing than cast iron. But carbon steel is superb because it conducts heat very quickly, and it might even give you a better sear than cast iron. So look at Lodge carbon steel and Lodge cast iron, but please buy at least one piece that's heavy metal. Let's talk about a few essential electric things that I prefer. You can buy any brand you like. So this is a hand mixer. You don't need a hand mixer, but it's good to have it so you don't have to bring out your big mixer. This is a dualet, but you can get, Breville makes a very nice one, and KitchenAid makes a nice one. The feature that you want on your hand mixer is this feature. So I pull it out. You've seen me do this on other episodes. You pull it out, you plug it in. You're done, you unplug it. This is what you have to do usually. But instead, they made it so you just do this, which is awesome. I love it. So this is a dualet, but any size, this size, usually comes with these, a whisk, which you'll never use, and some other thing you'll never use, but this is the one you'll use. So this is just a common thing. You should have this. It's just easier than taking out the big KitchenAid mixer with the bowl if you're just trying to whip some egg whites or something, so check this out. But get the screw-in thing, not the wrapping thing. You need a food processor. Sorry, you need a food processor. You will use it. Buy a Cuisinart. Here's the big clue. Buy one with paddles, not with the push buttons, all right? The paddle ones are better. I'm just telling you it's better. One of the reasons it's better is because it's easier to control. Help! I'm paddling away as fast as I can. So anyway, let's talk about totally unnecessary, awesome kitchen tools. No segue required. Not this birthday, but the birthday before, Regina gave me a present. And I opened it and I was like, oh, thanks. But Regina knew. The reason I said, oh, thanks, was because it was a gadget that we had discussed not wanting together, but she had done some research about this. My God, was she right. What she gave me is this, a Joule, Joule. I'm just going to tell you, this is a sous vide machine. Believe me, I was as repelled as you are. In England, they call it a water bath. So if you don't like to say sous vide because it's so uppity, just say water bath. Basically what this does is circulate warm water around a vacuum-packed, doesn't have to be vacuum-packed, by the way, piece of meat or vegetables until it is perfectly cooked every single time you use it. You get the Joule app on your phone. This communicates with your phone. And you get just a pan of water like this. You take your Joule, stick it in the pan. Then you go on the app with Joule. You're going to say, I'm cooking seafood. You'll see when you look up the app and look up people on YouTube using it. And you'll say, oh, seafood. And they'll say, how big is your fish? Or how big is your pork chop? It'll say, okay, then it has to cook for this long in the water bath. And you put it in a plastic bag. You don't even have to vacuum it. You just lay the edge of the bag over the side like this and put the pork chop here. And then you weight it down with a cup filled with water. And this is how you do it. It's this easy. Look at this. So you also have a sort of water feature in your kitchen when you're using it. So you can cook stuff like filet, the terrifying filet, the big tenderloin, in this thing. You take it out, you sear it, and serve it. And it is 100% restaurant level. Any jerk in the world can use this thing. What this does is it takes all of the fear out of a fancy dinner party where you're serving something that can dry out. Pork tenderloin, pork chops, beef tenderloin, chicken breast. And what you get out of the bag is 100% perfectly cooked meat. Pre-season it if you want. They'll tell you everything on there. I have to say, I know it's sous vide, okay? I know how grody that is. I felt the same thing you're feeling now. You may have even fast-forwarded through this, okay? I'm telling you, this thing is the bomb. And it's changed my dinner party life because I don't have to worry about the cook. I can't tell you how many amazingly grateful that we are for every single one of you guys. How many of the viewers have asked me about these salt pots? I think they're cherry wood. They might be walnut. But the reason why is because of that. Okay, so when you're cooking, you just do this, but then your salt is not exposed. You just close it. So you've commented on them because they're awesome. So I got mine at Williams-Sonoma. I'm sure they're $400,000, okay? But I don't know. I think I got them both as a present, actually. Anyway, these are great because they close. That's why. You don't have to close it. You just have to hit it to shut it. This is a small mini prep processor. Here's the deal with this thing. What you're going to do is you're going to be doing a dinner and you're going to be like, I'm not going to take out the big food processor. I'm just going to use the little one. And then you're going to find out that it's not strong enough and you jam too much stuff in here and it doesn't work. What this is good for is chopping a small amount of herbs, mixing a small sauce. It's a fun thing to have. You cannot use this to make pesto and stuff like that. It's going to fill up and it's not going to cut the parsley or whatever. However, get the paddle, always the paddle, not the buttons. If you're going to buy a mixer, buy a KitchenAid. I'm sorry. They're really expensive. They're like $400 or something now. Get one with the movable top, not the one that's in a fixed position. You want one that you can lock or unlock to lift up. Two things you should never buy. Number one, do not buy the pasta rolling attachment for the KitchenAid. Just don't buy it. The KitchenAid one is literally impossible to clean, and you will use it maybe twice, and then you'll never use it again. The other thing I would advise not ever buying is the sausage making attachment, because you have this idea, you're like, I'm going to make my own sausage. I have all this leftover stuff, and I'm going to make the best sausage ever made in the history of the planet Earth. And then you go and you get the skins from the butcher, these like flattened frozen skins, the gut that you put the sausage in. You thaw this stuff out. Good luck putting it on the nozzle attachment of your KitchenAid sausage maker attachment and trying to actually fill sausages evenly with no air pockets without bursting this thing, without making a mess, including the ceiling, all over your kitchen. Do not make sausages at home. Now, mixer is one thing. Blender is something else. Now, a blender, you're going to use much less than you think. And it's for things like silky purees, silky soup. You may make a few smoothies, I don't know, okay? I am gonna say if you buy a blender, you should buy a Vitamix. Regina bought me my first Vitamix extravagantly, and I use it for super important meals where the puree or the soup or the dip has to be like silk. It's a high level piece of equipment. expensive. But if you're gonna have a blender, let it be a Vitamix. Have you ever noticed that when you ask people, would you like coffee, they say no? And the reason they say no, if they're polite, is because they know you have to go and put the water and measure the coffee, and it's too much trouble. Until I got this machine, this is an espresso. You can get much smaller, simpler things than this. This is pretty simple. I think it's $160. But what happens is, if you say, would anybody like an espresso? Suddenly everybody wants one. Because you say, it'll take me 2 seconds. I have the machine. They'll go, oh, I'll have one. So that's a significant thing. This is totally unnecessary, and you can ask for it for Christmas or you can forget about it. But if people want coffee after dinner, this is going to make them say yes, because they know it's very easy for you to make. Espresso. I mean, there's Keurig. They have plastic cups, though. But I like Nespresso. But anyway, there's other brands that do it now, and it just encourages people to have coffee. So try one of these now or later. This is totally unessential. Do you want to make ice cream? There's such beautiful ice creams now that you can buy in the store. I totally understand if you don't want to make ice cream. But anyway, if you want to make ice cream, don't buy a cheap ice cream maker. So this is in the category of totally unnecessary. I have had many cheap ice cream makers. You know why? Because they break. I had another ice cream maker for probably 10 years that was the entry-level big Cuisinart. This is the Cuisinart, right? I had the entry-level one. This one has a few little features that are a tiny bit better. But this is like, that's the container. And, that's the thing. And it has a refrigerant unit in it. That's why it's so big. Is this a convenient thing to recommend to you guys? No. What I'm saying is, if you're going to buy an ice cream maker, understand they're this big. You have to store this huge freaking thing in your house. Do people like homemade ice cream? Absolutely. Do I need to tell you about it? Not really, but I thought if I was going to tell you everything that I use, I would tell you about this. So this is the Cuisinart, the fancy one. I'm going to tell you about my siphoning and filtering machine for homemade cordials and mead. I'm not going to bring it out because it's kind of a wreck, but it's called, the one I love is called the Buon Vino, good wine, Mini Jet. You do not need the full-size one. The Mini Jet works great. It's a little over $100. And if you make 3 cordials a year, you might want to invest in it, because it makes filtering take basically 15 seconds. But as I said, and as people commented so kindly, filtering is a 2-man job. Whether you have a filtering jet or not, it doesn't matter. Anyway, the brand I love is called Buon Vino Mini Jet, and there's a wonderful video on YouTube of the maker, the guy's son, I guess, who runs the company, or maybe the guy who runs the company, explaining how to use it. And it's very, very sweet, and he takes you through the whole thing of how to filter your wine. But one of the things that I want to just share with you is what not to buy. Gadget people buy that you will never use. You will not use an herb stripper. You will never use this. The one thing you might use it for is stripping kale. Seriously, you can't cut like this twice with a knife. Anyway, I bought this because I thought it'd be so convenient for stripping thyme flowers. I never used it. I think I used it once. Don't buy an onion saver or like those garlic saver things. Don't bother with that stuff. Don't bother with $500, $600, $700 knives. Who the hell cares, okay? What are you, a samurai? The cutting ability is essentially the same. In a well-sharpened $19 knife, it's essentially the same. It doesn't look the same. I have like a personal thing about bread machines because I make bread. So I'm like, should there be a bread machine in life? Is that something that we really need? A bread machine. A bread machine. Really? You need a bread machine. I'm not interested in the Instapot. Okay? I'm not interested in the Instapot. And if one more person tells me about how awesome the Instapot is, I'm not interested. If you live in a campsite, an Instapot is awesome. Other than that, it's a waste of space. Do you really need a smoking machine? You don't need a smoking machine. Are you going to lift off a cloche and have the whiskey smoke or the whatever it is, like carrot flavored smoke in somebody's face with the scallops and all this? Are you going to really do that? Maybe once. I just want to tell you something interesting. If you do have one, they are fun if you have it or somebody gave it to you. They're sort of fun. So you put wood chips in it. Was this a present? I think this was a present. But you put wood chips here, and it heats up the wood chips, and then smoke comes out of here. You've seen this on like, not great, maybe a Great British Bake Off, but I want to recommend a new show to you guys. First of all, everybody, world announcement. Great British Bake Off. The last season we're going to get with Sue and Mel and Mary Berry begins June 22nd. Right, Gina?
Yep.
So in my course of waiting for GBBO, I found this show called Great British Menu, which is it's a competition, but it's an English one, so it's much better. It's very illustrious and quite successful chefs, Michelin-starred chefs in some cases, competing in a very quiet English way for a certain prize, but it's great. It's the kind of thing that if you're a cook, you'll write down notes while you're watching it. Like I bought 4 things off Amazon, like black vinegar. Like, what the hell is that? I bought that off Amazon from watching that show. What I tried to use this for at Christmas, or false Christmas, with my friends who couldn't come to Christmas, I made beetroot cured salmon, and then I tried to smoke it at the end. Just a word to the wise, if you do happen to have one of these as a gift, this is the Breville smoker, it takes much longer to impart that smoky flavor than you think. I put it under a bucket or something with the salmon. It was already cured for like 25 minutes, and I was like, oh, it's going to be bitter. With this little thing, this is so weak. It's not like the green egg. With this thing, my friends Spencer and Eric, they said it was very vague, the smoke smell. So that's just an interesting tip. Anyway, do you need this? 100% not. You know, look, I'm not going to lie to you, okay? Would I like a chamber vacuum sealer? Yeah. Are they freaking $5,000? Yes. I mean, that's way out of the range of something I can buy right now. But I will tell you that with a chamber vacuum sealer, you can make compressed fruit, and you can make, you can freeze things properly, and you can marinate things in 1 hour, and it's really awesome. It's that thing that they have on cooking shows where they open it, they put it in, and it goes koonk, like that, and then they take it out and put it usually in the water bath or the sous vide. But it vacuum seals. It's not the same as a food saver, which I have. Food saver doesn't create a vacuum. It just seals the plastic. The chamber vacuum makes a vacuum, and it's very big, and I don't have room for it, and I can't have it because it's $5,000 and I don't have room for it. But I might have room for it someday. Chamber vacuum sealer makers, don't you think this is a great show? I just want to thank you guys so much for watching Kitchen Tools, really for watching Dinner Party Tonight. I honestly don't know if you can understand what it means to us that you guys watch it and comment and sometimes argue with each other, which is my favorite. And that we're creating a community, and communities are rare, and I really appreciate that. So thank you for watching Kitchen Equipment, and I hope you will continue to watch Dinner Party Tonight. Help! I'm paddling away as fast as I can.